contentious situations, and they were chosen by voting in the end between the 5 of us. So you know, if one looks back and tries to examine, you know, were they all judged by these 5 people according to the same criteria, I mean, logically, I think cannot really be the case. You know? And I mean, they all have, I think there's no question they all have a certain distinction, they all have a certain quality, but the buildings are very different. I mean, the programs they answer are very different, the size is very different, where they are is very different, you know, the climate, and so on and so forth, the specifics about their structure, materials, etc., their program, and so on. And also, you know, the different attitudes they take towards public space, both, I think, explicitly and implicitly. So, you know, those variations are, you know, they are absolutely there. They can't possibly be denied. And I think, you know, in the end, these kinds of judgments always have a certain arbitrary aspect, because if you were to ask 5 other people, or, you know, remove one person and replace it by another person, then the result would be slightly different, perhaps. You know, so that's just a fact of life, I think. I think there's a paradox, you know, because if one looks at the global situation in relation to globalization, you know, there's an enormous amount of building, more than ever, I think, and much of it is not of a very refined quality. You know, the rule of the market, you know, the rule of globalized market conditions tend to favor buildings which are, well, ultimately speculations, and often designed in a hurry, and so on and so on. But I think at the same time, if you look very carefully all over the world, you find work of extreme refinement. You know, not work of extreme refinement, not necessarily being done by famous architects. In fact, in many cases, I think work of a refinement which is superior to the work that is sometimes produced by so-called star architects. So there's that kind of paradox, I think, in the general emerging world, if one can say that. I suppose by emerging you mean, you know, what one used to call third world or underdeveloped world, but clearly, I mean, well, there are exceptions, but certainly countries like China, for example, are no longer can be considered emerging quite exactly. I mean, they're very extremely powerful economy and society, etc.